we're talking about rights that people were denied, right? That it should apply to you regardless of your identity, right? But people, for some reason, were still denied access to those rights, right? I don't know if people even think about the fact that people literally had to fight. We're talking MMA style, like really having to go out there and fight for their lives. Civil rights protections weren't just like handed out freely. This is something, when we talk about each protected group, each group had like their own movement. Literally each community, right? They literally had to fight, and often several of them are still like making movements within the movement, right? They're still having to fight for their rights. It means a group was systematically denied access to something that should have been allowed, should have always been allowed. They should have always had access to. So civil rights historically were needed because groups were excluded, right? The exclusion element. And the Second Amendment was never identity restricted. So why take a right that was never denied by identity and place it under an enforcement body meant to protect people from discrimination, which is associated with what? An identity. And then here's where the next piece that kind of gets me. It's like where timing matters as well. Because all year long we have watched DEI being dismantled, civil rights staff like shrunken, disability being recategorized in a multitude of ways, gender protections challenged, voting access restricted in certain states, a 43-day shutdown that hit federal workers the hardest, right? Because it's a government job. An entire civil rights framework questioned or rolled back. The entire framework. The pattern is long-standing civil rights protections decreasing. New constraints apply to marginalized groups, right? And suddenly, a constitutional right elevated into civil rights machinery. This machinery that was designed to help protect disenfranchised groups, marginalized groups. So the civic question becomes, why redefine what civil rights means in 2025? Because that's what's happening, right? When the definition of civil rights changes, the consequences like ripple across voting, the differently abled, community, and the overall definition of disability, education, gender, housing, employment, everything. And what do you think it means when the line between a constitutional right and a civil right starts to blur? This is legally everywhere when we're looking into everything. Why? Because we're literally everywhere. Looking into everything. We are marinating and annotating, giving ourselves a moment to chill for a second and come back and have lively discussion, because these are things that we all should be able to know and speak about. And more importantly, that needs to give us some information, because questions that need answers.